Hi, welcome to Biology B. I am Karen Krako, you can call me Karen, and I will be your teacher for this entire semester. I am very excited to be here teaching you biology. I hope that you are too, or at least if you aren't all that thrilled right now about learning biology, I'm hoping that by the end of the semester that you will be as excited about it as I am. I'm actually betting that that might be the case. I'm hoping that you'll be at least glad that you took this class. Okay, so you probably know that biology is the study of living things. And to get started, I want you to do something very simple, and it may even seem silly to you, but just humor me for a minute. I just want you to take a minute and think about all the living things that you've encountered in your entire life. Yeah, all the living things you've encountered in your entire life. Now, most of the time when people think about living things, they think about animals. They think about furry animals often, you know, their dogs, their cats, the raccoon that they saw killed on the side of the road. But you're in biology now, and I want you to think like a biologist. I want you to think beyond furry mammals. I want you to think about all the different types of living things that are on this earth. And you know a lot of them already, and others you will be learning as the semester progresses. So think about, for example, the bacteria in your mouth, the ones that cause cavities. Those bacteria, even though you can't see them, those are living things. Think about the bacteria that the antibiotics that the doctor prescribed for you are fighting. Okay, antibiotics are fighting bacteria, and again, bacteria are living things. And that's not to say that all bacteria are bad for us. There are some bacteria, like the ones that make yogurt, that are actually good for us. So I want you to think about those bacteria when you think about living things. I want you also to think about viruses. Now, there's a little bit of a controversy about whether or not viruses are living things. And you're going to get a chance to learn about that and look at the evidence and weigh in on that later in this term. But for now, think about viruses also when you think about living things, the viruses that cause colds or the flu that's going around, okay? And unlike bacteria, pretty much all viruses are bad, or at the very least neutral, but most viruses are not so good. Okay, so we've got bacteria, we've got viruses. Think about maybe in grade school you looked through microscopes at pond water and saw small little organisms that you can't see with your naked eye. By the way, organism is another name for a living thing, okay? So living thing is the same thing as an organism, just a fancy term for it. And I'll be using both living things and organisms as I talk and in the lesson. So you should know the word organism. Okay, but anyway, think about that pond water and the small microorganisms, the ones you could only see with a microscope. Maybe you know about them, maybe you don't, but you'll certainly learn about them in this class. Also, think about things like mushrooms. Maybe you see mushrooms on the forest floor, or mushrooms like this on your pizza or in your refrigerator. Think about mushrooms. Think about molds, the mold in your bathroom maybe, or maybe in your refrigerator. I actually had some cheese that I let sit too long, and it has this green mold growing on it. Now, I don't think I'm going to show you. It'll just make me sick. So anyway, so think about mushrooms and molds. Think about the yeast that we use to bake bread and other baked goods. Those are all living things. All right, well, of course, the yeast, once we bake the bread, no longer living. We make it work for us, and then we kill it. But anyway, yeast, mushroom, molds, the mildew that makes your kitchen rag smell sour, all of those are living things. And then also, of course, there's all those plants out there. There are some beautiful plants, like the ones that make flowers like these for my garden. Isn't that beautiful? This is a balloon flower. It's wilting a little. It's been hanging out here for a while, but anyway, so there are plants that, you know, make beautiful flowers. There are the weeds out there that are everywhere, the grass, the shrubs, the trees in your neighborhood, in parks that you've visited, all over Minnesota, of course, all over the country. Think about plants that you've seen on TV that you may never see in your lifetime, perhaps. Okay, think about those, and think about the crops in the fields. Those are also, of course, plants, and those are all living things. Now we can think about animals. And yeah, go ahead, think about your dog, your cat, your parents, actually, because we're all of us humans, we're all animals, according to biologists. And think about some animals that you might not normally think about. Take a minute to think about some of those insects, the mosquitoes and ticks, the crickets making noise in August. Think about the worm that you use to bait your hook when you go fishing. Those are all animals. Think about things like starfish. Maybe you've never seen a starfish in real life, but you probably know what one is. Here's one, no longer living, of course, but once was living and has a very interesting lifestyle, interesting way it makes its living. Think about all the different types of animals. Think about the ones you've seen on TV but have never seen in person. Think of the ones that you've seen at the zoo. Think of the ones that you catch when you're fishing or shoot while you're hunting. Think about the birds. Think about all the different types of animals. Okay, so I want you to take a minute to do that. Think about the bacteria and the viruses and the molds and the mildews and all the different types of plants and animals, and I want you to choose one of them and write about it. I want you to share a story or your thoughts about a single organism, a single living thing. That's it. At least 5 sentences, and while you're at it, also introduce yourself to us and let us know something about yourself that you'd like to share. Okay? So again, introduce yourself, tell us where you're from, and let us know something that you'd like to share, and then share a story. It could be a good story, it could just be information about a single living thing. And for this assignment, why don't we make it a non-human living thing? We talk about humans all the time, but I want you to choose any living thing that you want, and I want you to write about it. Okay? Simple, maybe seems a little silly, but what I want is by the time everybody's posted all of their information or stories about living things, we'll have a whole bunch of different living things to contemplate. Okay, so questions, call me, text me, email me. Okay, always feel free whenever you have something going on, because calling or emailing a teacher is like raising your hand in a classroom. Okay, at Blue Sky, it's the only way we know what's happening with you, and I'll be in touch with you too. So here's to a great semester. I'm really looking forward to working with you. Take care now. Bye.